So today we're going to take a look at the first ever Pro Sunset, and what makes this so special is take a look at the team comps as well, because we've got 10 different agents here, right? First off, these are our two teams. It's a Chinese game between Rare Atom and Royal Never Give Up. And, well, yeah, just take a look at the team comps. Two very different approaches. We've got Double Duelist with a Fade Solo Harbor as well, with a Sage in there also. So no Sentinel, Double Duelist, Solo Harbor. Not something you see every day. And then RNG here went kind of the opposite way with just, let's pick like the 5 most meta agents. You know, in Raze, Sky, Omen, Viper, Killjoy. Now, you know, just looking at these comps kind of, you know, just straight up, you would think like, oh, this comp probably makes more sense, right? You're playing a bunch of meta agents. You know, that's probably going to make the most sense for this game. But actually, it was Rare Atom who won this game. So let's now dive into some of these rounds. And let's start with the first pistol round here, where we get a nice little idea here from RNG. They're going to go for a nice little snake bite lineup. You can see where the Viper is here. Going to send it through the window just there. And it's going to come and land back here. Really nice little snake bite. They're then going to go for basically a fast B split. They're going to send a dog down here with their Viper wall. As you can see, this is a Viper wall that they were throwing, you know, most rounds, let's say. Right, that kind of cuts off mid, allows you to go for this B split. Also cuts off this little annoying bit back here, which is nice. So you get to, you know, go for this dog here. The Viper, after throwing the snake bite, is then going to follow that dog through. And you can see that we're going to get a fight here in B main. And you could see straight away here the impact that this Viper snake bite has, right? Really nice little lineup comes in here. Now, what Rare Atom are going to do, this Jet is obviously going to have to retreat, but they're just going to go now for a delayed fight back, right? Where they're just going to wait for some gunshots and these guys to come up, and then you're going to see the Phoenix Flash come around the corner. They're going to swing and manage to get the first couple kills. You can see the dog is already on its way out. We're also going to get the Sage Wall here. So this was another thing that we're getting as well. A lot of the time was this Sage Wall, which obviously if you don't destroy this Sage Wall, you know, basically the defenders, you know, now are really only worried about this half of the map, and whether it comes in here. Sometimes they were even doing it much deeper and coming, you know, all the way down here, which again, if you do a wall all the way down here as the defenders and that doesn't get destroyed, you know, the map becomes very, very small for the attackers. So that's one nice use of Sage as well. But now let's take a look at this reaggress here from Rare Atom.
被舌吻，
听到脚步了，
烫到了比较多的一个血量，拉出来感觉要对枪，先来搜一下死点。
等打闪，
打闪啦，啥都看不见，3个大光头。
And so from there we end up going 2 for 1 for the defenders, and the next fight that's about to happen at the same time kind of is this Fade is going to beat the Viper just here and manage to get that kill as well. We're going to end up in a 4v2, obviously difficult now for the attackers, and I like the way that Rare Atom play this round, you know, from this point. What we're going to get is this hub wall in just a second. The Sky is going to push up here in towards mid and take the fight against the Harbor and actually win that fight. And so from that, RNG then decide to go towards the A site, as you'll see just now. But I like the way that Rare Atom are about to approach this round, because they're going to stick together. And I think on a pistol round in particular, sticking together just makes a lot of sense, because you know, you're not going to get sprayed down by anyone in a pistol round, right? And if you can just trade off each other, especially when you're in a 3v2 like this, and, you know, RNG are a bit lower as well, you know, that makes a lot of sense. Now, they're going to come and plant the spike, and we're going to talk later on about, you know, this A kind of post-plant situation and what to do in it, because I think that that is going to be a big challenge for the attackers to solve. But you see the Minimize here, he actually finds a great timing, sneaking in towards, obviously, the back of spawn here. You see that Rare Atom, as I said, sticking together like that from them. But now you're going to see that Minimize, it looks like he's in a super dangerous spot and should get a kill, right? He's going to turn around at almost the worst time, and they're going to see him. And Rare Atom are going to manage to close this round out. But it does get a little bit close.
他可以等正面响枪之后再拉出来。
太吓人了！这一拉出来3个，这完了，他肯定要被追
了。这个位置是走不掉的，留一个人断，很聪明。
直接让 Spitfire 去解决到对手了。小火龙上来选择的是黑梦这个角色啊。
那现在1打3的残局，位置被锁定，点到一枪。
麦克，他已经尽力接住了，但这个时间我不好说。
听一下，是来得及的。是完全来得及的。
我好极限 ，OK。
Okay, now let's come to round number 6, and we will see that A post plant in action that I was just talking about. What we're going to see here is, I think, what's going to be a very common idea, okay? And that is setting up an op here on the defensive side towards A. You're going to see, we're going to get a Sage Slow, we're going to get a Harbor Wall just coming down here, right? Stopping them from getting in towards A early, and now we've got our op set up here on A. And we're now just going to run away and try and make this map nice and small, you know, have 4 people just on here. Very Haven-esque, if you will. And actually, I think the way you approach this from the attacking side will be a bit Haven-esque as well. You see the Viper orb here is coming in and, you know, blocking off one side there. And again, they're still doing that same wall. So this is the way that RNG were trying to approach it. Thing is, in just a second, as we continue to run the round forward and the jet is down here, you know, with the op on that angle, you see they've got the Killjoy turret there as well, is you'll see in just a second, we're going to use the dog. Now, here's the thing. I think that it's going to become very common. So they use the dog to clear out mid instead, as they got a bit of B main control just there. And they come to mid. Eventually, they're going to decide to come back towards this A site here. Now, this is the thing, and I think this is where this is going to be kind of like Haven. You know, when you've got Haven and you're retaking A, and, you know, you've got short and long to deal with, often what you'll get is you'll get some kind of drone, Sova or Sky or whatever, right? You know, going down here, and then also smoking off one side, right? That's going to become, I think, very common, because an op in this angle, or even pushing up further deeper, right, is going to be pretty common as well. So I think you'll see that a lot, where you'll get some kind of drone coming down here from, you know, likely a Sky or, you know, Fade or Sova or something, right? I think that's going to be a very, very common idea. In this case, they've already used their dog, so instead they're going to have to use a flash here. I should also note, just quickly, look at where they put the Sage Wall. They put the Sage Wall all the way back here, and obviously the threat is that you could be on this wall, I guess, as well, right? And trying to take a fight if you wanted to. But also, it's just a wall that means, you know, now we can fully focus in here, maybe even shut the door, right? And, you know, just have 2 players with our op here as well. Unfortunately, for Rare Atom, in this case, you know, RNG are going to manage to push them back enough. You see with this flash here, and they managed to get in on towards the site, and now they are going to come and be there much quicker than perhaps they expect. Now, one little thing we need to take a note of as well is this Sage's angle here, just tucked by the box, right? So you've got the box just in here, and the Sage just tucking in right by it as well is going to cause a bit of an issue, but Rare Atom will manage to take the site. One thing I really love as well is the Raze is going to blast back up here. This is a great angle for either an Omen or whoever can get up there, right? Jet, Raze, whatever. This is a great little angle and manages to get them a kill in multiple rounds.
已经是先交出来了 Swell， 但是哇，第2枪空了，有点可惜。Viva 这样被拿下的话就伤了呀。
他这个站位真的很危险，优们躲得好好啊，但是这个幸福2选1他都没。
But now let's talk about this A postplant, because this is going to be a problem for the attackers on how to solve this. Because the first question is, where do you plant? Right? If you plant behind this box here, it's safe, but it's a terrible plant. It's a terrible plant spot, right? You really can't see it from anywhere. You have to literally run all the way up to it. It's a terrible plant spot. So instead, you know, both teams are planting in this corner a lot, which is also safe and makes a lot of sense. But even that can only be seen by this, you know, one angle here. So often you're going to know that that's the angle they're on. And if they're not on that angle, they're in a lot of trouble, which is one reason why actually on the other side for Rare Atom, I actually kind of liked what the Harbor gave, you know, to that, in the fact that they were putting down like a cove like here and planting in the middle there, right? So it's open to this, it's open to that. If you push CT, it's open to this as well, right? Like, I kind of liked that from a Harbor, to be honest, because otherwise you end up in situations like this where it's a 3v5, but you're going to see, you know, they do well enough between a Phoenix Ult and a Harbor Ult here on the defensive side to get this back in their favor, get into a 1v1. And this Omen is just left in an awful spot at the end of this where he, you know, where this Omen is. And again, I like the using of the verticality where they were using this top of this box as well. They've got the Raze on top of this box. Like, I like the verticality they were trying to use in the post plant, but you know, if this guy's the last alive, you know, if it isn't one of these two that's last alive, you're just in a world of trouble because they just can't see the spike. And especially when it's against a Harbor or something like this, yeah, it's going to cause you a lot of difficulties.
是他有点纠结，他想再多拿几个人的，
他不知道，有点不知道打谁了。
是，这纠结了一下，让自己到手的鸭子飞了。
现在看一下回防怎么打吧，有再回一回，直接走起，
看一下能走到哪里，但是并没有能够收集到更多的一个信息，又是索尔这个位置，
又是踩在这个高箱上侧，
打了个闪 ，Stu 收掉一个人，一豪也能马上补掉，但是在点内的人也能够去接住，开启了自己的爆拳。5滴血，耶，好像放的有点歪，拆不到。哦呦，一豪在找到对手，想要去穿这个海顿的时间里面。
Another thing we saw a ton of here was defensive aggression, and obviously this makes sense, right? The fights on this map can happen very, very quickly, right? Where, you know, the barriers between the two teams are quite short in terms of, where they can take fights. And for the defenders, and you're going to see they almost use this Viper Wall against RNG here, where they're able to just sneak up with it. We're going to throw a Sage Slow in here. We're going to throw a Fade Horn out in mid. They're going to fake like they're aggressing on A with this Harbor Wall, and then they even send out the High Tide as well. But really, it's all out from mid. And it's just a really, really nice play here from Rare Atom. And you'll see that it doesn't go perfect for them. Nice little Sky Flash there out of mid through this window as well. That's nice. But you see that they just start aggressing on them, and they don't know what to do, right? Because it feels like they're aggressing from here, and this could be a big part of this, right? Where you almost fake aggression, like you're coming down one way, but actually you're silently aggressing another part of the map. I could definitely see that being like a big part of a lot of teams' different strategy, right? Where you do something like this, because it can create a lot of confusion where you see that two of these players are now watching this because they've sent this High Tide and they're going to send this wall out as well. Like, it just creates a lot of confusion here, and these guys are eventually just going to end up in a world of trouble.
顶出来，哇，两段闪就是很霸道的，就是往前顶，
不讲道理，
对，
纯不讲道理。然后走到前点之后，还有黑梦的暗兽
啊，毗邻之虎
没咬到。
硬去追，
哇！反穿，
猜到了对手的一个位置，因为被咬到了，
没有办法动啊！
是的，被烫死了，必须得出来，出来以后只剩下一丝血，麦克自信收枪了，说是
这波有点尴尬了，因为当时。
Okay, finally, let's come to round number 17. So the teams have swapped sides now, and one thing I think again that could come in big is attacking ups. And the reason is, again, much the same, right? That with the barriers, being where they are and fights taking place, very early on, potentially into, any round, having an attacking up and just, allowing you to just walk up and kind of, be in an advantage on that fight, I think is very, very good, right? And we'll see it in this round where this is just going to be pretty much a straight B exec, right? They start off with this Harbor Wall trying to fake, as if they are coming in towards mid. Here's the defensive Viper Wall, by the way, that RNG were using, fairly standard, just going across here. And again, you see, what's going to be a massive part of this map is trying to get one person here. Very, very Haven-esque, right? Where we just try and get one person watching this. I mean, I think ideally, if you can, get them like up here even further, that would be ideal. The Razor is going to stay back here, but just leaving one person here on A and then, fully rotating across, very Haven-like, that's going to become the norm. This is just going to be a straight B hit with a lurk here from the Phoenix, but you'll see here goes the up, right? And as I said, like, you're going to be getting into these kind of fights. This time it's just going to be a jump peek here. You see that Viva gets all the way up here and manages to find this kill. And then it's just hit the go button, right? So away we go. So yeah, that I think will be a big part of it. The Harbor is going to come in. You see the Killjoy setup that they're doing, which I thought was interesting as well. Often they would have a Nano Swarm here as well for this. It's an interesting turret position. I guess they're putting it here because it allows, the Killjoy to play, further around and stuff. Obviously, if the Killjoy is playing fully on B, maybe a better position is something like this that sees a bit deeper into B main, also sees this. But yeah, I guess they wanted the kind of maneuverability for the Killjoy there. Although, again, I don't quite know what's wrong with like a turret, like here, that again would see both. But Anyway, they come in onto the site, and again, I think the Harbor Wall is just insane here, right? I mean, look at this Harbor Wall, and they've already used that Harbor Wall in mid, but look, the two cascades are good enough, right? Take a look. We got one cascade there, one cascade there. They then come in, they Sage Wall this as well, just making this Postplant really, really difficult. The Cove goes in, they get the spike down, and this Fade ends up in an insane position. We got the Phoenix lurking on the other side of the map as well, and now take a look. The Harbor's going to come back into B main. Obviously, the fast flanks is going to be a big thing on this map, but now you get the High Tide coming up as well. This dog ends up running into a Sage Wall. You got the Phoenix just in their spawn. This Fade, just take a look at where this Fade's going to end up in just a second, just tucked in here behind the High Tide. Kind of insane, to be honest, and from this point, Rare Atom will manage to win this round, and it was just like a really interesting thing to see, because again, you would think that, RNG kind of have the better comp here, and maybe long term they do, because I wouldn't expect, no one knows what's going on in this map, and it will take probably a couple months before, we start to see any kind of real meta developing, especially considering it's the off season. But yeah, this was a nice kind of first start, and now let's take a look at Rare Atom close it out, and they would win the map.
强行踩着减速出吗？小火龙这个站位感觉跟队友商量好了，能够藏住。
右边倒了，
听到了一堆脚步，重位了，
一枪穿到2个人，
而且小火龙还在藏，
是的，
出来了，背身没问题啊，这分。
对，这个狂潮也是话的有说法的，给
是的
自己的队友刻意留了这么一个角落。